So how can you? The other pain point that I hear from clients every day is how can we help them, be more proactive, because we keep getting the phone calls of, hey, I just found out my policy is renewing next week, or in 2 weeks, or the coverage got dropped, or it always seems to be a very short time frame to make a decision.
Yeah.
They almost feel like that's happening to them either on purpose,
Yeah.
or is that just the way the industry is?
Yeah, and that's an interesting question. I think there's definitely times where insurance carriers, especially in places like Florida, they're so overwhelmed because so many carriers have withdrawn that things are coming out last second. And that's sometimes not the agent's fault. Sometimes it is, because agents, obviously, we get paid commission when we renew a policy, right? So there's situations where they don't want to lose an account because they know they're about to deliver some awful news, right? And they want to hold that until the last second so the client doesn't have the opportunity to
that's not
shop.
very
That's not
very professional.
Yeah, and that's a pretty slimy tactic, right? So there's definitely times, and like one thing that we have built in is kind of like a very standard renewal process, right? Like there's things that happen outside our control, like we talked about carriers maybe not getting things in time, but the communication throughout the process, throughout the renewal process, remains standard. So we're keeping someone in the loop the entire time about, hey, here's where we are, here's what we got to the carrier, here's what we're waiting for, here's what we think is going to happen with the renewal.
Right.
Maybe we did look at these other carriers in the meantime, just so we have backup plans B and C when are necessary. Because lots of times, these insurance agents don't want to do the work to find a B and C if they don't need it.
Right.
And they don't know if they need it until the last second, and then the clients just get stuck.
It's very similar to what we experience at Engineered Tax Services with tax planning, when they're like, no, my CPA is doing my tax prep.
Yeah.
And we get the calls in the end of November, here, the middle of December, for tax planning, like, hey, what can I do to reduce my tax and my cost, and is there a strategic investment or something else? It aligns perfectly with engineered insurance to be as proactive as possible. So it's more proactive risk planning and transparency of, hey, here's when your policies are going to be coming up.
Yeah.
Here's what your lender is requiring.
Yeah.
Here's the other things that you might not be considering.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, ETS has done an excellent job with this already, and EIS continues to kind of take this to the next level within the risk management portion. But like for our clients, if our clients are looking at a manufacturer is looking at starting a new line of business, we're in the room with them as they make the decision, evaluating the risk of that decision, right? Because most of our clients, they're not large enough to have a risk management officer, right? Like we act as a third party who's helping them make these decisions, and that's just the part of the value to, once again, like anyone can sell an insurance policy. That's not a difficult thing. It's the advice and the structuring a program that makes sense.
The overall strategy, the timeline of how long they're going to be involved with something. What else goes all into that decision.